which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right. There's no second best. Okay. It's not like Google and Facebook. It's not like Apple and Amazon. Yeah. We can debate Apple or Amazon. What's better? They both look like tech monopolies to me. They both look pretty good. On the other end, Bitcoin or no, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's crypto asset. This entire idea of like 60% dominance is bullshit, ridiculous, stupid, right? Like it's stupid. It's not 60% dominant. It's like 96% or 95% dominant, right? The thing, if you compare it as a crypto asset to a like kind of proof of work crypto network, right? That's meant to be a store of value. You know, you're lucky if you can scrape together 5% of other stuff in the last bucket. So there is no real competitor.
Hello and welcome back to Cryptollennium. Today, the day before Thanksgiving, has been quite an interesting one, as they usually are for the crypto market. Fed had its minutes meeting, as well as some other interesting side notes to make. So without further ado, please like and subscribe and let's dig in. As you can see, Bitcoin made a slight recovery from the bottom that it saw a few days ago, but will this hold? Let's take a look. Fed minutes showed most officials favored slowing rate rises soon. So their discussion at the meeting described in minutes of the gathering released on Wednesday suggests that they could downshift to a rate rise of 0.5% or 50 basis points at their next meeting. Let's see why this could be. Well, data shows U.S. initial jobless claims at actually 240,000. The forecast was 225. The previous was actually 222,000. So jobless claims are going up, but what they're doing is working, and so they can be a little bit more dovish. Hopefully this sticks. Other news, crypto slate wrap daily. Bitcoin hash ribbon points at minor capitulation as holders increase. Well, the biggest news in crypto for today, or some of the biggest news, includes Bitcoin hash ribbon metrics, indication of an upcoming minor capitulation. On-chain data revealing investors taking advantage of the low prices, and Bitcoin and Ethereum consisting of 91% of Bitfinex's total reserves. So what does this all mean? Because this is just mumbo jumbo to somebody who doesn't understand what this means. So Bitcoin miners have been selling at the most aggressive rate over the last 2 years, which indicates that the upcoming hash rate adjustment will be negative in the next epoch. The Bitcoin hash ribbons are often used to identify price bottoms when the hash ribbon signals goes to when the signal shows an upcoming minor capitulation, the Bitcoin price falls. Currently, the hash ribbon convergence signals that the end of this capitulation period is nearly over and an upward turn in the market is likely. This sounds awesome. I would take it with a grain of salt because we're not out of hot water yet. We still haven't seen what Genesis will do. We still haven't seen what Grayscale will do, if they're going to help Genesis. If they're okay, I'm sure they'll be fine, but grain of salt. In other interesting news, SBF now states he'll be going to the New York Times Dealbook Summit in NYC on Wednesday. Is this real? Surely his lawyers won't let him do this. Well, if you watched our previous video, you'll know that his lawyers actually dropped him, at least his former lawyers. I don't know if his current representation wants him to do this, so he looks more intentional about fixing the problem. That could be an angle they're taking. So is the New York Times going to actually still be giving him this platform next to U.S. Secretary Yellen, Larry Fink, and other huge names? If you didn't know, the New York Times recently wrote a puff piece about him, kind of just, putting him in good light, if you will. But for some interesting facts to this, he'll be speaking with Ben Affleck. It's very random and kind of like, wow. You wouldn't see somebody else who lost $8 billion get treated like this, but he's a boy wonder. He even said it himself. I'll be speaking with Andrew Sorkin at the Dealbook Summit next Wednesday. Pretty interesting. Even more interesting is actually Apple is reportedly looking into buying the book rights on SBF. And what's funny is Michael Lewis had been following or shadowing SBF for about 6 months to pen a book on the crypto's controversial figure. So, according to the Deadline report, Apple is looking to buy the rights of Michael Lewis's upcoming book to turn into a feature film. Now, the craziest part about this whole thing, the irony is like, it's poetic here. Take a look at this. Michael Lewis is known for writing The Big Short, which was later adapted to an Academy Award-winning film. For those of you who are unfamiliar with The Big Short, he talks about some insane financial scandals that led to insane market damage, similar to what's going on right now. And what is the irony that he would have been following SFB for the last 6 months prior to this whole thing happening, this whole catastrophe? Was this planned? Did SFB know he was absolutely screwed? Or is it just nature in its beauty, kind of just setting things up in the most interesting coincidences? Well, Michael Lewis also authored Moneyball, The Blind Side, and the entire collapse this last month sent shockwaves through the industry, as we all know, but you kind of get the point with this. It's weird. Some positive news. Binance tops up safe fund at $1 billion amid price fluctuations. So because the whole liquidity disaster happened, CZ had promised a relief fund. This is basically it. He's topping it up with about $1 billion. That is no small chunk. And kudos to him. I know he gets painted as a bad guy sometimes, but at the end of the day, you have to do business a certain way. You have to protect what you have. And so kudos to him. So the tweet included 2 hyperlinks to 2 reserve accounts, one in all which holds each of the Binance stablecoins, the BUSD native token of this, with an equal price of $700 million. Now, this has small fluctuations, but not many. And then the opposite pockets revealed another bag of Bitcoin holding $300 million, totaling $1 billion. This is awesome. And, Crypto Group on Twitter responded to the tweet with largely constructive reactions, applauding him. And one person said, all cryptocurrency companies ought to have a safe asset fund for customers similar to Binance. So hopefully they never actually have to use this, but this is amazing. And this pushes us forward to new heights in crypto. Take a look at this article if you want to know more. Moving on to some other positive news. Mark Zuckerberg is not stepping down as CEO next year. Executive insists. So why I'm bringing this up is a lot of people are not fans of Mark Zuckerberg and his centralized approach to Web3. It's not really even Web3 what he's doing, but the fact that he has such traditional shareholders and they don't really like what he's doing to such a scale that once he succeeds and maybe he does make it in Web3, it'll push crypto further ahead, similar to the recovery fund we saw previous to this. So one thing about the quickly denied rumor today that Mark Zuckerberg was to step down is that it ignores one basic detail. He controls about 55% of the social media giant's voting stock. So for those of you who didn't know, Mark Zuckerberg he's untouchable. He holds majority of the votes, so he can do whatever he wants. And so he lost at least $12 billion this year to build the Metaverse. But he's willing to actually promise 10 to 15 billion a year on it. So unfortunately, the Metaverse that he's building has attracted little but scorn due to graphics that look a couple of decades old. But for those who are unaware of how blockchain works, the reason that metaverses are such low scale right now is because the way that they pull the data in, we haven't advanced our systems quite yet to adapt to the way that the data is being uploaded into these metaverses. So typically you have servers that control everything, but for everything to be decentralized, it actually makes good graphics a tough problem to fix. As we continue to develop and get better, and we are getting exponentially better, this will be a blip in the number of things that we overcome. So big deal. Meta dropped 70% this year in stock, with drops in a near extra 20% plus range as they continue to drop quarterly reports where they're losing money. So still, this is good for crypto. Whether or not you like the guy, whether or not you like what he's doing is kind of subjective, but as a whole, it brings mass adoption depending on, it doesn't matter what door you came in through a door. Other news related to XRP, Kevin O'Leary on SEC versus Ripple lawsuit over XRP. I have zero interest in investing in a litigation against the SEC. Now, Kevin O'Leary is highly fearful of regulators. He does not mess with regulators. He doesn't want anybody to touch his money. So I'm sure he has good reasons for it. If you have money, you probably would, unless, he's doing something sketchy. But he said he had zero interest, and he had discussed, because he has to be compliant. He doesn't want to be a crypto cowboy, if you will. So yeah, this is just one person's opinion. But more related to XRP, when Ripple destroys the SEC, not only is XRP the winner, but all of crypto. Similar to Meta, but even better. So why is this? Well, Ripple versus the SEC, a lore explains why November 30th is a crucial date and why a settlement for the SEC is possible. Let's take a look. Well, by November 30th, both Ripple and the SEC have to file their summary judgment briefs, which will remain under seal for the time being. On December 2nd, two parties will meet jointly and discuss redactions for the court filings. A few days later, on December 5th, Ripple and the SEC's briefs will be made public. Finally, on December 22nd, the omnibus motions to seal all documents related to the summary judgment motion will be filed. This is good. This is, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. According to this renowned Australian lawyer and crypto enthusiast, Bill Morgan, this is an important date for the case and the outcome of the lawsuit, because December 5th could be one of the most revealing documents of the trial. And these documents are called the Hinman documents. The documents revolve around the former SEC director, William Hinman, and a much publicized speech he delivered in 2018 declaring that Ethereum, like Bitcoin, was sufficiently decentralized and thus not subject to federal securities regulation. So this was a highly controversial speech, and this is going to be huge if they introduce this. So why is it a stumbling block for the SEC? Well, in Ripple's brief, all eyes will be on whether or not the fintech company cites the Hinman documents as evidence. To the extent Ripple waives it, it could be a telltale sign of a settlement agreement. The reason for this is because they don't actually have to declare that they've settled. So Morgan believes, based on his experience as a mediator, that the settlement agreement between the SEC and Ripple is a real possibility, but he noted that the settlement agreement could be reached at any time without the public's knowledge. Nobody outside the parties will know until the parties say it has settled. And this is a way to control the market, if you will. The way that traders trade, this is a way to keep that out of it. And according to this, Ripple's possession of the records of the speech provides strong leverage in order to keep these documents secret and prevent a broader impact to an overall crypto market. The SEC may be forced to settle. This is good. This is very, very good. So for those of you who are, on the tipping point, I would say patience is key. This has been Cryptollennium. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving.